I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with the filmmakers behind some of this year's short films that have been shortlisted for the Oscars. Mikey Please from Robin Robin and Reza Riahi from The Musician are in the running for Best Animated Short. We've got Ryan White from Coded, Christine Turner from Lynching Postcards, and Alexandria Jackson from Sophie and the Baron, who are contenders for Best Documentary Short. So first off, what did the recognition mean to you to be, singled out in this way from so many other films that were considered? And what would the nomination or even the win mean to you? Let's start with Alexandria.
Oh, well, I mean, we were completely blown away. This is nothing we could have ever imagined or dreamed of when we started shooting this thing. And it's Disney picked us up as the first original documentary, which is mind blowing to us. And it's just been wonderful. We have such a wonderful team, and it's a big family on our crew. And I think that for us, it's really extra special being able to celebrate Baron Wolman, the two subjects passed away. And I just feel like he's very much orchestrating all of this magic from upstairs. But yeah, we're very honored and shocked, really.
Yeah, and how about you, Christine?
Yeah, similar to Alexandra, it was, this is not something that I could have imagined when I set out to make the film. And it's an incredible honor to be amongst this group and the other films that are nominated. I think, it's exciting because it'll raise visibility for this history that I think has been lost. And so hopefully more people will become familiar with this story, and hopefully that we can all confront the issues that it brings up. So I'm happy for that reason alone.
Reza?
Yeah, as a filmmaker, none of us actually, we were doing the film, we were thinking about these moments, of course, but we were all trying to do something good to be proud of. But it's, we were blown away with my producer, and we were like very, very proud. And I don't know what to add to this.
How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. I think it's very surprising, and it's also very humbling. I think for the doc specifically, it's doc filmmakers that select the short list. So a huge honor, I think. I've seen Christine's film many times. I love the idea of like she said, visibility. That getting on the shortlist, because it's hard to get a short film watched by a lot of people, but the shortlist is definitely a huge step in viewership. So stories like hers, which are so important, and the story of Leyendecker, which I think has been lost to history in some ways. If people rediscover him because it made the shortlist, then I'm thrilled.
Mikey?
Yeah, so as everyone's said, it's an amazing surprise and honor. I think everyone agree that when you start out making these projects, you have all these ingredients and you're putting them together, hoping that something's going to cohesify and it'll turn out. But often it is out of your hands. You've got your material and you can do the best you can. So to know that it's sort of something about it must have worked in order for it to have come to this stage is really exciting, and especially for our crew. It was an extremely awkward and stressful 9 months during the pandemic making it. To be at this stage now where it feels like, okay, there's some element of it was worth all that awkwardness.
And Ryan, as you were saying, there's it can be hard to get short films seen by a wider audience, but it does, I wonder if there is this increasing visibility, public appreciation market for it now that we have services like Netflix, like Paramount Plus, like Disney Plus, that aren't beholden to a certain particular running time of material. Are you finding there are more opportunities for things to be seen, Ryan?
Oh, for sure. I'm thrilled that companies like Disney are picking up films like Alexandria's. I think shorts have for some time have been the redheaded stepchild, and don't deserve to be. And I think audiences have proved that over the last 5 years, especially with documentaries, that they're willing to tune in for nonfiction content in a million different forms. I think the series format was a huge surprise to everyone in the last decade, that people would tune into nonfiction in the way that they do a scripted series. And so, yeah, my hope is that the streamers especially continue to stay in the business of short films and continue to get them added visibility.
Yeah, Alexandria?
Oh, I think, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've seen every one of these films on this panel and loved them all so much. And, I can't, it was amazing being able to watch them right now. Unfortunately, ours, Sophie and the Baron isn't out for a couple months on Disney Plus, but I loved being able to watch them. And I think it's incredibly important.
Reza?
Yeah, that actually the short film, that's the thing. Sometimes as an animation filmmaker, people think that you in the short film you're going to do the future, but the thing is, like, the format of the short film is a format that so many animation filmmakers they like, as myself, like is part of the storytelling that we like to make it like a short, and that's very huge. That's we can have our films in the shortlisted, and people can see the films is visible for them, and to make sure that people know that it's just a format of the short film, and the future is nothing. It's nothing big and small, and just some short filmmakers, they like to have their stories to be in this format. Yeah.
How about you, Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, it is really encouraging seeing particularly more streamers create these sort of anthology films, anthology collections, like on Netflix. There's like the Love, Death and Robots and The House, which is coming out tomorrow, I think. But absolutely, as someone who's made a bunch of shorts and has gone to countless film festivals and watched these diamonds of storytelling emerge, it can sometimes be frustrating to think like, there isn't that platform culturally where they can be as appreciated and celebrated as I think they should be. But so hopefully, the steps made by these streamers and platforms is really encouraging. But I think it would be great to see curated, sort of celebrated anthologies of films that have emerged through kind of that festival route, so which have been pushed by independent filmmakers such as you guys here. That would be a really wonderful thing to see more of.
How about you, Christine?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everyone has said, and I love making short form films. I love making short films. They're an interesting challenge, and I'm always trying to figure out how much can you say in the least amount of time, which is an interesting challenge. But I think, not every film needs to be a feature film anyway. Sometimes, the short form is right for the subject. And so I think, it gives an opportunity, I think, for more filmmakers to create work and have their work be seen and get out there. And certainly it helps to diversify the content. And I think the barriers to entry are also lower. So we're hearing more voices from more different people. And I think that's really exciting too.
Yeah, short film definitely isn't sort of just like a precursor to feature length, or, it's very much like a short story isn't less valuable because there are also novels. So like, what do you think are some of the benefits of telling a story in a shorter format, Christine?
Well, I think that in a way, because it's shorter, many more people might be able to see it. It's probably easier to find, 15 minutes, for example, in one's day-to-day routine than it might be 2 hours. So I think the short length in that sense might mean that more people could potentially see a film, and you could watch 4 of those short films as opposed to one feature-length film, for example. And I love feature-length films, but I also think that the short form also offers the opportunity to have experiment, right? We're seeing many different styles and styles and approaches to the short documentary. And so I think you just get a taste of more things.
Reza?
Yeah, the short films offer, as you said, like when you go to the seance of like 4 or 5 short films, there's so many doors that opens to you, and you have so many stories than you like. It's kind of more richer to me actually than the feature. Even though I like the feature, I mean, there's a challenge of just doing a short film that you have a very the minutes, every minute counts, every second counts to develop the character, to bring the emotion that you want than the feature or the TV series, of course. But I think the short film deserves to be more like seen in the cinema, and as a sense of the so many short films together, not just a feature. And the people have to, and it's also it takes less time to produce, and you can have so many other independent movie makers or filmmakers to make short films, rather than having the extreme budgets to have the features.
Ryan, you've worked in basically every length of film. Like, what do you find are some of the benefits of short film?
Yeah, Coded is actually my first short film since like my college days. So I loved getting to do that. It felt like returning to my roots in that way, and kind of like going completely old school in the sense, like Reza said, like the budgets aren't near as high. They can't be for many reasons. And as Christine said, the barrier to entry is a little bit lower. Like it democratizes filmmaking a little bit more when you don't have those barriers. And so I think it allows you to tell stories that maybe would never get the green light as a feature-length story, or definitely as a series. So in that way, it was really fun and a fun challenge. You know, you have to use your money very wisely on a short film, because there's nothing can go to waste. And so I think that leads to better content in a lot of ways. Like someone said, every minute matters, every second matters in a short film.
Mikey?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that last point, that the kind of the confines of a short film are actually fantastic tools to kind of make you work harder, to make your ideas clearer. And yeah, when there is no room to kind of play or for the fact, you have to make sure that absolutely every little frame you're using is put to its best use, and that your thing that you're trying to say is simple and clear. And often with a limitless, not that I've ever been in that position of having a limitless resource and limitless time to play with, I'd imagine you've got more room for indulgence, and that lack of room for indulgence, I think, is a really strong creative ingredient in producing something good.
Alexandria?
Well, I think, Christine was saying it really beautifully. I think often the content and the story dictates the length and how much time you really need to say what you need to say or what should be said. And I think, with Lynching Postcards, it was incredibly powerful and moving and disturbing. And I think that any longer might have been too much for me, at least, as an audience who really appreciated the incredible filmmaking. I just have to say, Mikey, I'm really obsessed with the magpie, total aside, but I love him. But yeah, I just think that for mine, it's different. I shot it over 3 years. It could have been any length. That's what it should have been. We cut it together, and, we weren't doing a normal, biopic or something. It was very much relationship based, talking about their friendship and collaboration. So that's what it ended up being. Luckily we had that, we didn't have a studio at that point or anyone. It was just Lauren and I and, the producers like circling or giving some great advice. So we just determined it in the cutting room. But yeah, I think that sometimes people try to make things too long or too short or whatever. So it's good to see what the story needs.
Thank you all for talking to me about your very, very different, but all very impactful films in their own ways. And congratulations on your being shortlisted at the Oscars. Thank you so much for talking with me. It's been a pleasure.